So if you've made a bunch of prints on dampened paper, you probably have a stack of papers that look kind of like this. They've been drying on the drying rack out in the air, and they kind of get wrinkled up when they dry. Let me show you how to flatten them afterwards so that you end up with nice flat prints. I'm going to get a towel to spritz on some water, just plain clean water. I also have a stack of blotter board. This is like a thick spongy cotton paper that's very absorbent, that's going to help absorb some of the moisture. I also have a wooden board for weight, and then a couple of weights to put on top. I'm going to set some of these things aside and start with one print at a time. I like to do this on a towel because when I spray the water, it kind of gets everywhere, and if you're on a table, it just ends up being all soaking wet, and we don't want that. So I'm just using a light mist to spritz across the surface. You can let it soak in just a little bit. I'm going to set down a sheet of the blotter board. And we do have a stack of these in the Holden studio. They're over in the it's in the paper making area. They do use those a lot in paper making, but they're helpful in printmaking as well. And you can see how it's getting a little bit damp, starting to get a little bit floppy and relax a little bit. So I'm just going to set it on top of a sheet of blotter board. And then another sheet of blotter board on top. And we'll just keep doing that with each print, creating kind of a sandwich. After you've created this stack of blotter board, print, you're going to then put a stiff board on top and then a few weights. And you want it just to let it rest for about 24 to 48 hours until it's all dry. If you don't have weights, I would suggest just putting a stack of books on top. It doesn't have to have a lot of pressure, but just a little bit of weight will help the papers flatten out as they dry.